ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you inside the Romano Gymnasium at Tewksbury Memorial High School. Andrew Del Piana and Vince Allo with you live tonight on Tewksbury TV as the Lowell Red Raiders are in town to take on the Tewksbury Redmen MVC boys basketball once again in the Romano. Andrew Del Piana with Vince Allo.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Vince.
It was an eventful New Year, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to our first broadcast of the 2023 half of the 2022-2023 season. And what we've seen before the ball dropped in Times Square, Andrew, was this Tewksbury Memorial High School boys basketball team is capable of playing with anybody on their schedule. They've put together impressive stretches throughout the last few games that we've done. They just go into those little areas where they turn the ball over and fail to execute at the offensive end. Let's see if they can do what we've talked about so often, put 32 minutes together tonight.
Taking on a very tough opponent in the Lowell Red Raiders, a 4-2 record for the team from the Mill City, taking on the 1-4 Tewksbury Redmen, again live from the Romano Gymnasium. Andrew Del Piana and Vince Allo with you on Tewksbury TV tonight. Xavier Rivera and Luke Monteo will tip things up. The ball is in the air and the game is underway. Monteo winning the opening tip, passing it forward. Through Ryan Cuvier has the first two just like that, 6 seconds into the ball game.
Execution to perfection.
As we mentioned for Lowell, 4-2 record for them this season. Just recently played in their holiday basketball tournament of the IAAB 095 tournaments. They went 2-1, hosting it for the first time this season in their new building. Good defensive start early for the Tewksbury Redmen. 2-0 for the home team, 30 seconds in. Monteo on the low block. He had Sullivan behind him, decided not give it up. Lowell back the other way. Cuvier with an early swat on Juan Beltrez-Diaz.
Beltrez-Diaz on the attempt, on the conversion off the turnover. Shut down rather quickly and quite rudely, I might add, by Ryan Cuvier.
Quick inbound floater is too long, taken by number 12, Jason Kamayu, and a foul goes against the Redmen inside the painted area. First of the night goes to number 1, Ryan Cuvier.
And we've talked about that so often, Andrew, is keeping Cuvier out of trouble. Not even a minute into the ball game, he's got the first 2 points and the first foul for the Tewksbury Redmen.
First one is good from Zarpal Paracio. 6-foot sophomore. Knocks down both at the charity stripe, and the Red Raiders have even the ball game at 2 apiece. Just 45 seconds into the first quarter. Cuvier in some traffic as Lowell brings the double team, and Cuvier lost the handle. Quickly the other way comes the Red Raiders, and they're able to convert. First 2 of the night for Beltrez-Diaz.
In transition the other way, and that half-court trap really tied up Cuvier at the timeline.
We talked about Lowell fresh off of their holiday tournament. How about the Redmen going 1-1 in their Romano tournament right here in this very building, blowing a 14-point lead to a very good Burlington team. Cuvier with a defensive play on number 13, Zarpal Paracio. Quickly into the front court of the Redmen, Kenny Wen making his 3rd start of the season, couple of tries to short arms. 4-2 Lowell in the early going, 1:30 played in the first. Here's their top scorer, Javian Kermel, the guy they need to shut down tonight. Wen will draw the matchup with him. The kick out for Rivera, and it knocks down the tray. 7-2 early on for Lowell.
That quick bucket off the opening tap for Cuvier. Since then, a 7-0 run for the Red Raider Ball Club.
And the Redmen playing sloppy early on. A couple of turnovers that led to some Lowell baskets. Nice pass inside, but what a block by Paolo Paracio. Scoop layup, no good. Lowell reset with a fresh 35 on the shot clock. Now they'll get into their offense.
That was a well-timed, elevated play there by Paracio.
Lowell already tying their wins from last season. They went 4-13 last year, and are already at 4 wins with that 2 losses. And the blocking foul goes against the freshman, Johnny Sullivan. Kermel
will be at the free throw line. Just tell watching the team warm up who's got the skills, and you could tell right away, number 3, the youngster at the line.
Kermel, the senior captain of this Lowell Red Raiders squad, averaging over 15 points a game this season, was an MVC All-Star last year. Now in his senior campaign, trying to capture a first-team all-conference nod. Missing both, and it'll go in the favor of the Redmen.
Just a play a moment ago defensively, Powell Aparicio for the Red Raiders, elevating to make the block on Luke Monteo. Monteo coming off a career game in the championship the other night here at the Romano.
Sullivan turns it over, throws it right in the hands of Kermel. Carlton with a nice hustle back the other way, and he'll take that foul any day of the week to stop the fast break.
But already the 3rd team foul for the Redmen here, not even 3 minutes into this ball game.
And the Redmen have been throwing it all over the Romano in the first couple of minutes.
A.J. Cini makes his first appearance tonight for Coach Boudreau. Let's see if they can quell the turnovers here with his presence.
And a 5-second inbound violation. Great defending by the Redmen to prevent that ball from coming in bounds.
That's one time where not quelling the turnover actually paid dividends for the Redmen. They forced a 5-second violation. Great defense inside.
5:10 to play in the first quarter. 7-2 the Red Raider lead. And the Redmen, their turnovers are piling up in the first quarter.
I think their 4th turnover already.
Something that we did not see from this team during the Romano tournament. That was one of the keys in taking that big early lead against a very good Burlington Red Devil team.
New year, new team. Maybe they're going to go in reverse order, start out a little bit slower and finish stronger. We shall see.
5 minutes to play in this first quarter. Lowell still clinging to a 5-point lead. Kermel with the hard drive on Cini, hits back iron. Rebound finds the hands of Cini, and the Redmen are going to get a favor as the foul against Kermel on the rebound.
His first, team's first.
Red Raiders will get their first sub in the ball game. It's the freshman Alfred Vasquez. We knew we were going to see a lot of him tonight. He was a star during the fall ball that the Redmen saw from him a couple of times prior to meeting here in the winter. But the half-court press of Lowell really getting to the Redmen right now. Monteo's open, and he blocked from behind. I believe Powell Aparicio got a piece of that.
That would be the 2nd time that those two have had a date at the rim. But that's exactly how you break down the half-court trap. You get it to the middle, you turn, look up, and try to hit your teammate coming off of either wing.
Carlton, fresh off the inbound, much-needed 3 for the Redmen.
Or he just inbounds to Carlton, who gets a much-needed 3 for the Redmen.
Carlton, who was dealing with the flu earlier this season. Nice to see him come back and get his starting role back in the mix. The 3 from Beltrez Diaz is short, and the rebound for Cuvier, but he turns it right back over with a double dribble.
It's an opportunity there for Cuvier just to clear the glass, get possession, and give it off to a Carlton, Sullivan, or Cini. Let the guards do their thing, push the ball up the floor, and then settle for his position on the inside.
7-5 Lowell, 4:10 to go in the first. Kamayu will set back up at the top of the key, one-on-one with Cuvier. Aparicio high off the glass and in.
He's got 4 in the quarter already, including 2 blocks at the defensive end.
He's been all over the floor here in the opening 4 minutes. Quick pass to a cutting Cuvier, but it slips off his fingertips. Lowell basketball.
Right idea by Cini, trying to get inside as Cuvier tried to establish position, but he was still moving when the ball came to him. Take 1 second off of that, let him get to that right side block, use his height advantage, and then hit him on the inside.
A couple of fresh subs for Lowell coming in the ball game. Number 22, Eric McKibbe, and then number 41, Manny Gayen. As Aparicio and Rivera head to the bench. Kamayu goes right at Carleton, off the glass, another bucket for Lowell. They got a 6-point lead with 3:20 to play in the first.
They've already got 4 people in the scoring column. Check that 3.
Cuvier in some traffic, tried to spin move.
Check that again, it's actually 4, my bad.
Extra pass for Carleton, off the catch, he's hot out of the gates. Even though the Redmen have started slow, Brian Carleton with 6 points to only make this a 3-point game with 3:08 left in the first quarter.
Well, he may be over the flu, but he is shooting it sick tonight. 2 threes in this first quarter, 4 BC for 3. It's exactly what they need. And we've talked about it, Andrew. Who's going to be the person to rise up and give the Redmen some minutes and some quality offensive and defensive plays? Early on, it's Brian Carleton.
And Luke Monteo had a career-high 18 in that loss against Burlington a couple of days ago. But even when we saw it in the Romano tournament, we talked about guys like Roman Lord, Brian Carleton. Who's going to be the guy that can come off the bench or in a starting role that is going to be the unsung hero that most teams aren't going to expect? And for a guy like Carleton, we know the talent he has. We've seen it from the last couple of sessions. His ability to shoot from behind the arc, but now being able to play, make, and dish it off, also adding something to his game, is definitely something Steve Boudreau's going to like.
Yeah, unfortunately, Andrew, it's all for naught if they keep turning the ball over. The more extra possessions you give a team like Lowell, they're going to take advantage of it. You give any team extra possessions, it makes you have to work harder defensively. It gives them better opportunities to get more shot attempts at the offensive end. This Tewksbury Ball Club can get the turnovers reduced dramatically. We're going to see them go on some runs.
And it was a story we saw against them a couple of weeks ago, losing in that Methuen game, their first game of the season here in the Romano. Turnovers. Hopefully they can stop the bleeding today and get a much-needed victory in the MVC. 3 minutes left here in the opening period, 11-8, the Lowell lead. Coming off the screen and into the game is Gayen. Goes right at the left side of Carleton. Basketball pinballs around, finds the hands of Beltres Diaz. 6 to shoot for Lowell. They'll go up over Carleton. Nice bucket by Kamayu.
They used just about all of that 35-second shot clock and got the spin move in the lane for the bucket.
Michael Sullivan in the ball game. Carleton looking 3 for 3, was hit. Looking for a whistle, wasn't able to get one. Cuvier on the putback is no good. Sullivan keeps it in. Ball right on the baseline is going to end up in Lowell's direction.
And we just witnessed something that we haven't seen since the last game and every other game we've done together. Sullivan hitting the floor and making a hustle play.
Sullivan 10 points off the bench in the loss to Burlington back in their championship of the Romano tournament. Been a big impact guy, was expecting a starting role going into the season, been more off the bench. 3 ball short by Alfred Vasquez, another freshman phenom out on the floor tonight.
Camayo's going to pick up the foul on the reach-in on the Cuvier rebound. But yeah, Michael Sullivan off the bench, he gives them that spark of hustle play, defense, and it's the Romano court, and he takes part of that court home with him after every game that we've seen him here.
Absolutely. Under 2 minutes left in the first, 13-8, Lowell leads. In a block, they'll go into Monteo for the first time tonight, and the push goes against Eric McKeeby. Both teams with 3 team fouls aside with 1:45 left in the opening period. Quick inbound over the top to Cuvier. Monteo trying to stretch his reign. Ball might have gotten tipped. Gain working his way off. Nice dish. Offensive board, though, for Beltres Diaz and a fresh 35. Kamayu, the floater in the dish.
He's tough. Once he gets inside the paint, really knows how to elevate and finish.
Sullivan in the teeth of the defense now will kick it out. 1:05 left in the first. Carleton hit and a late whistle comes in for a foul on Manny Gayen. And as you mentioned, Vince, Jason Kamayu, that beautiful floater he has, he just rainbows that right over the defense and in the basket.
Carleton was 6 of the Redmen 8 here in this first quarter.
Our score with 1:04 left in the first. Lowell 15, Tewksbury 8. Carlton knocks down 1 of 2. Johnny Sullivan back into the game, replacing Brian Carlton, who exits with 7 of the Redmond 9 points. 60 seconds remain in the first. Lowell 15, Tewksbury 9. Pal Paracio goes into the teeth of Sullivan. Cuvier quickly back the other way, stolen from behind by McKibbe. Didn't see him from behind. Now Beltres Dio wants to push and turns it over. Getting real sloppy outside here, the Romano, and Sullivan is pushed from behind. And will settle down an awkward sequence between both teams.
Second on McKibbe. All we needed to make that play complete was Chandler and Mac Jones at the end of it.
Sullivan goes bank for the first free throw.
Holiday hours, the bank's open late.
29.9 seconds left in the first. Redmen trailing by 4 after Sullivan knocks down both. Shot clock is dead. Lowell will most likely hold for the last shot of this first quarter. Kamayu and Pal Paracio have been the go-to guys. This Lowell team is very young, just 2 seniors on this squad. And here's one of the underclassmen, Pal Paracio. Sullivan will heave it up, hits the backboard, and that'll take care of the opening 8 minutes. Some back and forth basketball as the Redmen are able to keep it close after a sloppy start against the Lowell Red Raiders. Our score, Lowell 15, Tewksbury 11. We'll take a short break on Tewksbury TV and bring you right back to the Romano for some more Redmen basketball. Andrew Del Piano and Vince Alla with you live from the Romano Gymnasium at Tewksbury Memorial High School. Through 8 minutes of play, Lowell 15, Tewksbury 11. Vince, what's been the problem so far for the Redmen through the first 8 minutes?
We haven't talked about it in a long time, but turnovers. Really, that's basically it. They've executed at the defensive end, getting the defensive rebounds, forcing the issue in the tempo a little bit, but just getting a little sloppy once they cross the timeline. It's been their Achilles heel all season long, and unfortunately, it's carried on into the first quarter here tonight. Again, we've talked about it so many times. If they can keep the turnovers down, they're going to be just fine. Keep in mind, after all those turnovers, they only trailed by 4 after 1.
And that's been the story. Only down by 4. You're still within this ball game. Lowell entering this one with a 4-2 record under 10th-year head coach Bob Michalchek. And then the Redmen 1-4 under second-year head coach Steve Boudreau. Both teams kind of in the midst of a rebuild this season. Lowell, as we mentioned before, 4-13 for them last year after making it to the North Sectional Final back in 2020. Kermel, haven't called his name much tonight. Roman Lorick doing his part at the defensive end. Cini wants the one-on-one with number 1, Jonathan DeJesus. Redmen trying to find a rhythm on offense right now. Cini, that quick little jab step. Sullivan, the offensive board, goes up and one. Perfectly timed jump from number 13.
You can't teach hustle. Either you got it or you don't got it. He's got it, and now he's got an opportunity for a three-point play.
Michael Sullivan, as we mentioned before, he's been the spark plug off the bench this season for the Redmen. Knocks down the unconventional three-point play, and the Redmen only trail by 1. Here comes the full court press from the Redmen, but Lowell's able to break the timeline. Deep 3 from Kermel, way downtown. That one came from the Mill City.
Closest defender was you up here on the track above at the Romano. That was deep.
Cini on the drive, right in the body of Rivera. He goes and he's stripped away. Pass over the head of Cuvier and the bucket for Lowell. It's Pal Paracio again.
He's got 6 in the ball game.
Defense into offense for the Red Raiders. Their lead is back up to 6, a minute 30 into the second. Holding foul goes against Pal Aparicio. His name has been all over the stat sheet early in this game.
We haven't seen that last three-pointer for Kermel. We haven't seen a ball take that long to come down since Times Square on New Year's Eve.
Absolutely. It's a 1-and-1 for the Redmen as Lowell just picked up their 7th team foul. And the Redmen, you got to take advantage of that. 6:27 left in this half. Definitely want to get to the charity stripe a couple of more times. Cuvier not able to get the second of 2. Makes it a 5-point game. Cini read that like a book off the dribble handoff, and it's a jump ball. Redmen take possession. Kamayu back into the game, replacing the freshman Vasquez. Cuvier with an open lane, going up strong and off the window and in.
We were both thinking he was going to flush that one too, but all that matters is he converted it.
The spin move tried by Pal Aparicio has it stripped. The dish to Sullivan, another and one. Look how fired he is up. And the Redmen have a chance to tie it as Michael Sullivan has brought new life to this ball club.
Textbook fast break off the turnover. Sullivan ran the right lane wide. Cini had him in sight the entire way down the court. Hit him in stride for the hoop and some harm.
Perfect execution off of the turnover for the Redmen. They now make this a 1-point game with 5:48 left in the second quarter. And
Seven already off the bench for Sullivan.
Yeah,
looking to make it 8.
You want to talk about unsung heroes? Number 13 right there.
Yeah, he just gives him that spark, and we mention it so often. When he comes into the ball game, you see the defensive intensity pick up, and anytime there's a ball left on the floor that's unattended, you can bet he's going to be the first one to go after it.
Absolutely, and a quick announcement for our fellow Tewksbury TV fans. Tomorrow, Redmen boys hockey will be in action from Fenway Park. We will be live for coverage of that game. That game starting at 2:30 from Fenway Park, where yesterday the Boston Bruins took down the Pittsburgh Penguins of a 2-1 final in the Winter Classic. So again, we will have coverage of Frozen Fenway tomorrow. Tewksbury will take on Northern Highlands.
That's exciting.
A state champion from New Jersey. We'll see those two teams match it up at historic Fenway Park tomorrow at 2:30. Again, we will have live coverage of that right here on Tewksbury TV.
You're becoming a regular at Fenway. You were there yesterday, going back tomorrow?
Absolutely. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. What an environment.
Absolutely.
Just an awesome idea by the NHL to do that.
Absolutely.
Just incredible.
Saw the incredible finish there in 2010 between Philadelphia and Boston, and Jake DeBrusk potting 2 last night. Get the victory for the Bruins.
Yeah, the Pengs held that 1-0 lead for the most of the game, but you just knew, matter of time, and they needed an unsung hero, and up steps DeBrusk, just like we're seeing Sullivan here tonight.
Redmen able to erase a 6-point lead on the scoreboard, and now it is 20-20. 5:40 left in this first half for the Redmen. That bench is really coming to life. And an off-ball foul against Lowell. Foul goes to number 4, Amos Silveria.
With our score 20-20, give a tip of the cap to the late, great Barbara Walters.
Rest in peace. Roman Lork in the corner. The kick out for Cini for 3. In and out. Lork grabs the board. Cini draws a couple of defenders. Cuvier in the paint. Great defense by Rivera, as he's been a matchup nightmare for Cuvier. Pace of this game really picking up. Kermel dishes it off. Roman Lork thought he had a block, but Silverio, just that 1-second pump fake, able to bite.
That offensive rebound the other way for the Redmen by Lorick was thanks due to the fact that Sullivan stuck his nose in there and deflected the ball away. So
the junior Emil Silveria getting in the action for the first time tonight. Short arms the first. Manny Gain will return as Xavier Rivera will head back to the bench.
2020 was before your time, though, right? You're on the edge at the end of it.
End of sophomore year.
Yeah.
Not a pretty time.
It's been roses since then, though, huh?
Absolutely.
Or oranges.
Oranges. Better reference. 5 minutes to go in half number 1. Coach Boudreau needs to burn a timeout as Beltras Dio was up in the face of Michael Sullivan. 4:57 to go in half number 1. Lowell 21, Tewksbury 20. MVC battle right here from the Romano.
One of the cardinal sins of breaking a press is pulling your dribble in the backcourt. You're just inviting your team to have to burn a timeout, which they did there. The other one against the press is to get into the corner and pull your dribble, because the sideline and baseline and timeline act as an additional defender. So just keep the ball moving, and that's all you got to do, and you'll break the press.
And for Lowell, keeping that full press up is going to have to be a key for them get into the latter part of this game. You want to be able to force turnovers from this Redmond team, and we know they can convert off of those turnovers. We saw it in the first quarter with that 6-point lead, but if you're the Redmond, got to take care of the basketball.
Yep.
That is the #1 key for this team right now.
And hey, they've battled back. They were trailing by 7 at one point in this first half. Trail only by 1 now, and they have the basketball, an opportunity to take the lead.
And they've been able to shut down Javian Kermel, who we talked about a little bit beforehand this game, Vince. 15 points a game for him. Season high 23 back on December 16th. Mentioned he was an MVC All-Star last year, trying to get a nod of the first team All-Conference. So being able to keep him in check, they've been able to go to another player in Jason Kamayu, who's been, like I mentioned, all over the score sheet in this first half.
Yep, 6 points in the ball game. The only points thus far for Kermel was that 5-pointer that he shot a little while ago.
Should have counted for 5.
Coach Boudreau, other than you, he was the second closest defender to him.
Back to the action we go. Under 5 minutes left in the first half. Travel goes against Cuvier, and Cardinal send Vince turnover out of the timeout.
And they've done it all season long. Just a little bit with the happy feet there for Cuvier.
Lowell gets the basketball off of the Redmond turnover. Beltras Diaz working a handoff with Pal Paracio. A couple of crossovers on Sullivan, trying to get that through Michael Sullivan as the ball gets tied up on the floor, but will stay with Lowell.
And Johnny Sullivan says, hey, older cousin, I can do it too. He goes to the floor for the loose ball.
So Michael Sullivan back to the bench along with Roman Lork. What a great production he's had in this first half. Carlton and Monteo back in for the home team. 4:31 to play in the second quarter. Lowell with a 1-point lead. Kamayu asking for a screen. Not a lot of time left in the shot clock, just 5 seconds for Lowell. Hustle play by Cini to knock it out of bounds. Now the Red Raiders have to go quick. The inbound goes to Kamayu, who's trapped in the corner. Lowell's not able to get a shot off, and it's a turnover instead. Johnny Sullivan right at Kermel, off the glass a little bit too strong. Kermel, great dish. Can't finish is Gayen.
He tried for the putback on the rebound, and there was Monteo to swipe it away.
Halfway through quarter number 2. Lowell 21, Tewksbury 20. Cuvier stripped from behind. Kamayu is right there. Lefty layup too strong by Beltras Diaz. Kermel from the wing.
Take a breath.
High pace.
Take a breath.
High pace right now at the Romano. Cini on the dribble drive. The kick out for Monteo. Trying to work his way through Silvera. Throws up and he's fouled and whacked on the arm.
Will be the second on Amos Silvera. And after 18 the other night for Monteo, he's looking to get into the score column here for the first time this evening with 3:20 left in the first half.
Monteo, if he knocks down both, can give the Redmen their first lead of the night. Gets a friendly roll on free throw number 1. Czar Pau Paracio returns, taking out Silveria, as Vince mentioned, picked up foul number 2. Monteo short arms the second free throw, and we're all even at 21. 3:15 remains in quarter number 2. Nice move by Gayon to get around Monteo, but Cuvier says, I'll have that. Thank you very much.
The long left arm of the law came over from the weak side to help out his teammate Monteo.
Those 6'4" giants in the paint, Vince, are just not fair. Cuvier able to get in the face of Pal Paracio. Kamayu wants to dance on Carlton. The spin move, nice play by Beltrez Diaz to take the contact and the bucket.
Second on Sullivan.
The junior captain of this team, Juan Beltrez Diaz. Perfectly executed spin move. And they get the bucket and the harm. Takes care of the three-point play, and it's a 3-point Lowell lead. As here's the full court press from the Red Raiders. Cuvier, the primary ball handler. Redmond working around the perimeter. Sullivan, nice fake. The floater in the paint is good. Perfect possession there from the Redmen.
That's a senior move by a freshman right there. Pump fake, use the floater and inside the lane for the bucket.
1-point Lowell lead as they're clinging on. The Redmen just trying to take that lead for the first time. Foul inside the key. Can you win? Sixth team foul for the Redmen tonight. One more puts Lowell in a 1-and-1 bonus. Good cut by Gayan. Nice kick out. Kermel straight away. Both teams struggling from behind the arc tonight. Cuvier with some pace back the other way. Gayan able to get his left hand in the way of Nguyen's pass. Sullivan, top of the key, well defended by Kermel. And a travel against Monteo took that last extra step before getting around the defender.
At the 2-minute warning.
(24-23) Lowell with 2 minutes left. Kermel open around the screen. The three is no good, and it's a legal screen against Lowell. The Redmen catch a break.
Manny being Manny. Manny Gayan on the perimeter. Only a freshman.
Just stuck out his hip right there. She stretched out a little bit too much. Other than that, it was a perfect play set up by Lowell.
And as it usually does, Kermel nailed the three, but the whistle had already blown.
Sullivan, tough spot, able to take the contact as two Lowell defenders were crashing in. This one goes against Czar Pal Paracio. Sullivan will get two at the line. First one rattles home for a tie at 24.
Will this be the first lead for the Redmen? I think Monteo tied it at 21 with his free throws, one of two.
Sullivan knocks it down. First lead of the night for the Redmen, 25-24. A minute 45 left in half number one. Lowell has led for a majority of the game. Vasquez, a long three, is short. Carlton spins his way out of the rebound. 2-on-1 with the other way. Carlton nearly get the N1 as he took the contact from Vasquez.
Great job, you know, selling the fast break by Cuvier. Just his hustle right there made the defender have to choose who they're going to guard. They chose Carlton. He's at the line, makes the first.
And the Redmen have been able to take advantage of the early fouls against Lowell. As we mentioned, they are in the double bonus with about 6.5 minutes to play in this second quarter. Vasquez back to the bench. He's picked up some early fouls. Carlton's got both. 3-point Redmond lead, 90 seconds left in the second. Lowell's been a little cold on offense, a couple of turnovers along with fouls. Same play worked last time, but Kermel no good on this three. And the Redmen will kill some clock with 1:10 left. Monteo flashes to the inside, working his way on a smaller man. Cuvier's got the mismatch he wants against Kermel, wasn't able to get it. Rivera, it's been a tough matchup on the interior. Kermel letting it fly again. Sullivan in transition. Had Carlton in the corner, weren't able to reward him. 6-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Both teams working early in the shot clock as Beltrez Diaz loses possession. And now Cuvier turns it over. Kamayu kicks it. Kermel flying through the air is Wen. Kermel now throws it up. Looking for a whistle against Sullivan. Can't get the putback. Carlton loses possession. Lowell will get an easy bucket at the other end with Beltrez Diaz. And what a way to end the first half. High-pace action, but a bunch of turnovers either side. Our score after 16 minutes, Tewksbury 27, Lowell 26. We'll send both teams to the locker room and we'll take a short break. We'll put 10 minutes on the clock. Again, the Redmen up by 1 against the Lowell Red Raiders in this MVC matchup. We'll be right back to the Romano after the break. Hello and welcome back inside the Romano Gymnasium at Tewksbury Memorial High School. Andrew Del Piana and Vince Allo with you live on Tewksbury TV. Through 2 quarters of play, our score, Tewksbury 27 and Lowell 26. And Vince, the story of that first half, both teams just shooting each other's foot, well, shouldn't be the right term, just shooting themselves in the foot on each and every possession. It felt like back and forth we go. There was turnover after turnover, and for either team to get out a win, you got to be less sloppy with the basketball.
Yeah, and they're playing a race to the bottom, a nice, contest of hold my turnover tonight, and it's been both teams really. And for we talked during the break, Andrew, about the fact that Tewksbury's up by a point. Mm-hmm. They could be up by 10. They could be down by 10, mm-hmm. but they're up by a point. So let's see how they try to correct those errors here in the second half. And something that's plagued them, in addition to the turnovers, is execution coming out of timeouts. Mm-hmm. What did they do after they called the timeout with possession? They turned it over.
And if you're a Lowell fan in this situation, you got to be thinking, you're only down by 1. You saw how bad we've played in the first half, and this is a team that's over 500 right now. 4-2 for the Red Raiders was, as we mentioned, for the Redmen at 1-4. And it's a game that is completely up for grabs. We haven't seen a clear, better team yet, and hopefully we'll be able to see a deciding factor here in the next 16 minutes.
Spark off the bench, Michael Sullivan leading the Redmen in scoring with 8. Tying, actually, Brian Carlton. He's got 8. Make that 9, including 2 3-pointers back in the first quarter. So Carlton leading the scoring tonight for the Redmen at the intermission. And
Sullivan's looked like the best player on the floor tonight for the Redmen. He, just like the first half, will come off the bench to start the second half. The spin move made by Kamayu is no good as he's able to get away from Monteo. I mean, both teams just got to be able to find a rhythm in this second half. Great dish from Carlton to find Monteo. Here come the Red Raiders in transition. 3. Palaparciu, no good. As we talked about in that first half, both teams struggling from the field. Sullivan with a little Euro step, short arms the floater, and he'll get to the line as he gets whacked over the middle. Sullivan hitting back iron, no good on the first free throw. Manny Gayen returns, replacing Pal Parcio. Sullivan makes it a 2-point lead for the Redmen, 50 seconds into quarter number 3. Trying to work it inside to Kermel as Rivera with a forceful pass in the middle, luckily tipped off a Redman.
Nice hustle by A.J. Cini getting the start here in the second half.
Rivera, low block with Monteo, keeps his hands up, but it doesn't matter. And an and one for Xavier Rivera.
His first 2 points of the ball game, looking to make it 3.
Monteo caught sleeping a little bit. I don't think he was expecting that pass from Rivera. 3-point play is to perfection. With that possession, Lowell regains a 29-28 lead. Bad pass by Sullivan as he was trying to lead Cini, but Cini too far behind. Gayen, crossover. Sullivan getting his hand in the mix of it. The kick out, Rivera for the tray, short. The Redmen are running and Rivera intercepts Sullivan's pass. Gayen called for a travel.
Hold my turnover.
You get one at one end, and then you give it right back at the other.
So vital in basketball, and especially in a one-point contest, where every possession is going to be crucial down the stretch.
Lowell brings the double. Kubier escapes. Sullivan blocked by Rivera, and it's last out on Sullivan as he heads to the park. Okay.
Insult to injury there as he was laying on the baseline and landed right on his midsection there after the block.
Lowell looking to extend the lead. They're up by 1, 2 minutes into the third. Monteo steals it away, but Rivera's right there to pick his pocket, and Gayen in for 2.
5-1 run to start here in this third period for the Red Raiders.
Kubier flashing over the middle. Cini, 15 to shoot. Works his way and is tripped up. Nice little burst of speed there from A.J. Cini to get inside the key. .5:24 remains in quarter number 3. Lowell 31, Tewksbury 28. Great dish to Cini off the back door, but he can't convert. Nice little head fake from Beltrez Diaz over Sullivan. 5-point Lowell lead with 5 minutes to play in quarter number 3. Cuvier unable to handle the pass from Lorick. Lorick gets it back, but too strong on the floater. Kermel goes right into the body of Cini. As A.J. Cini commits the crime. Second team foul against the Redmen in half number 2.
7-1 is the scoring advantage here in this third period for this Red Raider ball club. who trailed by 1 at the half, and they've taken over control of this ball game with their defense.
Kamayu on the wing with Sullivan guarding. Kermel off the screen, trying to send it in the middle and picked up by Sullivan. Strong defensive possession by the Redmen. Trying to work their way back in, down by 5. Sullivan, the one-on-one, tough play, and Kamayu blocked it. Defensive intensity has really picked up for Lowell. Rivera off the dish from Beltres Diaz, and now it has bubbled to a 7-point Lowell lead halfway through the third.
A 9-1 run for Lowell here in this third period as we're just under midway through it.
And as you mentioned, Vince, for Lowell, it has started at the defensive end. They've forced the Redmen into some bad shot selection, and as we mentioned in the first half, turnovers.
And the coaching staff for Lowell doing a nice job with that adjustment at the half. And that's a badly needed timeout for Coach Boudreau and his Redmen ball club. Try to settle them down just a little bit. See how they, execute coming out of this timeout. They can ill afford to have it be a turnover.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, 4 minutes play in quarter number 3. Lowell 35, Tewksbury 28. Vince Allo, Andrew Del Piano with you on Tewksbury TV tonight. A crucial game in the MVC as the Redmen cannot afford to go to 1-5. And based on the way we saw them play against Burlington, they had that 14-point lead. Burlington chipped away, but for the most part, they were in that ball game. And to see it kind of all come to a collapse tonight against a Lowell team that I wouldn't say is better than Burlington, maybe at about the same level, but for Tewksbury, they got to be able to clean it up and try to pick up some more wins against these doable teams.
Yep, they were in that Burlington game. They were in the Methuen game. They were in the Chelmsford game. They're in these games. Of course, they won the Chelmsford game, but the Methuen and Burlington game come to mind because they got out to good leads with execution at the offensive end, keeping the turnovers down. So thus far in this second half, they've done neither of those.
And it's been the slow start in this third quarter. As you mentioned, Vince, a 9-1 run to begin quarter number 3 for the Red Raiders, who have a 7-point lead with 3:58 left in the third. But a crucial stretch here halfway through the third. A Lowell lead back up to 7 inside the Romano, trying to pick up a road victory and head back to the Mill City with a smile. Cuvier throws it right into the hands of Kamayu, and another turnover off a timeout for the Redmen. A sophomore, Kamayu, who's had his way in this game, gets the switch, one-on-one with Cuvier. Gayen, the spin move and the kick. Beltres Diaz throws it up. Great defense by the Redmen. The rebound for Lorick. Carlton steps behind the three-point line. Offensive rebound for Lorick. Carlton tries again, in and out. Lorick, another offensive rebound. Cuvier trying to go to the rim strong, but he's poked from behind, and it's Lowell basketball after all that.
Great job of keeping it alive by Roman Lorick. And great looks at the bucket by Carlton, who have had those shots been taken in the first quarter. He'd have knocked them both down. He's been held scoreless since then, but just good hustle by Roman Lorick, giving his team another opportunity to get a good look at the bucket.
And the Redmen haven't gotten anything to go from three-point land tonight. Cuvier did all he can against Kermel, and that layup is just too good. Kamayu fouling Stini from his backside. 9-point Lowell lead, 2:43 to play in the third.
And the run continues. It's now up to an 11-1 run for Lowell here in this third period.
Cuvier on the hard spin move has 3 jerseys come towards him, and he lands right on his back. And you can tell he's some pain getting back to the line. That was a hard foul at the rim.
And you knew Cuvier's eyes lit up when he saw that lane open up for him.
Cuvier knocks down both, and it's a 7-point Red Raider lead. Red Raider basketball, 37-30 the advantage. Illegal screen, step by McKibbe. It'll be Redmond basketball.
That'll be his third.
Cini, the ball handler, now will give it off to Sullivan. Redmond around the perimeter. Cuvier, the spin move. Sullivan from the wing. Another one off the mark for the Redmen. Kermel, a little stop and go free throw line jumper. Redmond, 3-on-1 the other way. Sullivan with no contest. In and out.
And Cuvier came in from the out of bounds on the baseline. Just been that kind of quarter here for the Redmen offensively.
It has been a frustrating one, yet to have a made field goal. 3 points in this third quarter, all coming from the free throw line. Lowell, they've been able to capitalize on the bad shooting spree for the Redmen. Looking to add to their lead here at the end of the third. Sullivan in the passing lane to tip it away. Freshman on freshman, Sullivan on Vasquez. Eight to shoot for the Red Raiders. Kamayu, the dish off. Perfect cut made by Beltres Diaz as the shot clock expired.
That's execution at the offensive end. Very patient and deliberate.
Kenny Nguyen, who's been held quiet tonight. As for the rest of the Redmen, diving on the floor is Beltres Diaz, jump ball. The Redmen will keep with it. And it's been a difficult night at the offensive end for the Redmen.
Yep, only 3 points in this quarter, all at the stripe.
And just 3 points in the game with a minute left in the third. Redmen looking for a spark. Cini with 3 red jerseys around him. And 55 seconds left in the third. Vasquez drops his man. Now wants him again and dishes it. That drew a little ooh and ah from the crowd here at the Romano. Kermel on the baseline, throws it into the hands of Lorick. Redmond basketball is Monteo, luckily enough, picking that up as it crossed the out of bounds mark.
The Redmen can hold for the final shot. It'd be an opportune time for them to, for the first time tonight, work all of the shot clock at the offensive end.
30.4. Lowell leading 39-30. Inside dish for Cuvier, and that is the first made field goal of this third quarter for the Redmen with 15 seconds to play. 8 now for Lowell, leading by 7. Kermel will pull up from 3. Redmond basketball with 0.2 seconds left. Just got to get this inbounded. The buzzer sounds. That'll take care of quarter number 3. As we mentioned, just 1 made field goal in that third quarter for the Redmen. Lowell will take a 7-point lead in the final 8 minutes. You're watching Redmond basketball on Tewksbury TV. We'll be right back for the 4th. We welcome you back inside the Romano Gymnasium at Tewksbury Memorial High School. Vince Allo alongside Andrew Delapiana. 8 minutes to play in, beginning of the fourth quarter, 8 minutes on the clock. Lowell up by 7. Vince, what do the Redmen have to do to come back and come away with a victory tonight?
Oh, they got to start getting things cranked up at the offensive end. First and foremost, Andrew, they were outscored 13-5 in that third period. And only one field goal. They were 3 of 4 at the free throw line, and the one Cuvier field goal in that third period.
We'll start on defense to begin the fourth. Kermel with a layup, nice and easy off the glass, and Lowell back up to a 9-point lead. Not the start that Coach Steve Boudreau won for his Redmen. Wynn slashing his way through the pass, too far out of the reach of Monteo, and it's a turnover to begin the fourth. Jason Kamayu. Step back 3 from the wing. One-handed rebound by Monteo. Carlton with his head up. Wynn turns around. Rivera has been a monster inside the paint for Lowell tonight. Has made about every defensive stop when the Redmen get inside the key. Kamayu throws it up, kind of a circus shot.
Cuvier clears it away.
9-point Lowell lead. Cuvier gets the rebound at the defensive end and fouled at the offensive end. Just been one of those off nights for about every single Redman on the floor. They just haven't been able to get into a rhythm on offense. And credit that to the Lowell defense. But now, getting to the main stretch of this game, every free throw is going to be important for the Redmen, as just one more Lowell foul puts the Redmen back into a bonus.
Cuvier, double figures now with 10.
Lowell with an 8-point lead. Try to slow things down on offense. Good pass as Cuvier commits the crime against number 24, Eric McKeeben.
Only his second. Remember, just before a minute was played here tonight, he picked up his first. So with minute 27 taken off the clock here in the fourth quarter, Cuvier finally picks up only his second.
And Kenny Wynn, slow to get back up to his feet, is now going to jog off gingerly.
So he took one to the midsection there and knocked the wind out of him.
Redmen will roll with Cuvier, Monteo, Sullivan, Carlton. Eric McKibbe at the line. Getting the first of 2 to go. Lowell leads 42-33. Both are true from number 24. And they'll head to the sideline after the made free throws. Largest lead of the night for Lowell, 43-33. Redmen are in dire need of a bucket on this possession. Top they go for Cuvier. And Rivera rips it right away from him. Rivera, we haven't said his name much at the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's just been all over the place. Jonathan DeJesus, 22 last game for him against Westford Academy. Floater too strong, taken by Kamayu. In a lane, Cuvier has it stripped away. 3 red jerseys crowded him. 5:25 to play. Lowell 43, Tewksbury 33. Got to become a stop and score game for the Redmen. Kermel and one. That's not going to do it.
Nope. Used his quickness, got to the bucket on the left side and picked up the foul on Carlton.
Timeout taken by Redmen coach Steve Boudreau, and now it's getting to be desperation time for the Redmen, trailing by 12. And this has been a frustrating game for the Redmen tonight.
And you can see Coach Boudreau taking out his frustrations right at midcourt. Go out on a limb here, Andrew, and say that they're not discussing their plans for New Year's Eve next year.
No.
Or later on this year. I mean, as they exchange pleasantries, and obviously a frustrated coach, Steve Boudreau, not liking at all what he has seen out of his ball club here tonight, just unable to get anything going at either end of the floor.
And to bring up last game again against Burlington, you put up 61 points against a team who flat out one of the best teams in the state this year, and then feels like a dud almost, having 33 with 5:19 to go in the fourth quarter. Just any kind of momentum this team needs to build.
Yep. To this point in the second half, they've only scored 6 points.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to get it done.
Absolutely not.
And they owe it all to turnovers.
Yeah.
Just not getting good looks at the basket. That's in part. The other part of it is, like you've talked about, the great intensity defensively by Lowell here in this second half.
And I sound like a broken record, but talking about Xavier Rivera, he just gives the Redmen no room to breathe.
Nope.
Inside the lane. Javian Kermel to the line, shooting one free throw after the made layup. And it stays a 12-point Redmen lead with 5:15 to go. Limited possessions left in this ball game. Last out against De Jesus. And the defensive intensity by Lowell is being brought all night long. A Redmen ball club that is just full of frustration tonight. Carlton. Pull-up jumper, got tipped by Rivera. Out in the open for Gayen, kicks it out. Kermel with two Redmen flying in his face. Sullivan got to take care of the basketball. Carlton trapped on the baseline. What a cut by Sullivan, but unable to get it. And that has been the story of the night.
Yep, that one possession can sum up the entire ball game so far.
4:20 left in the fourth. Lowell leading by 12. De Jesus off the screen, too strong. Getting to the halfway point left in quarter number 4. Sullivan takes one from Gayen. And the Redmen will shoot free throws.
As we approach, like you said, the midway point of this fourth period, thus far in the second half. So we're talking about almost 12 minutes of basketball, 1 bucket. The rest has been free throws, only 4 of them. Make it 5.
Sullivan takes care of business at the line, a 10-point game. Comes down to this, the Redmen need stops and buckets. And with the time winding down on the inbound, head coach Bob Michaelchek uses a timeout with 4:01 to play. And as we mentioned before, possessions being very limited coming down the stretch. Going to be stop and score for the Redmen if they want to get back into it.
Yep, you cannot afford to trade baskets here or trade turnovers or anything like that. You've got to convert at the offensive end. And you saw just before that timeout, which was caused by the Redmen applying that full court presser for the first time here tonight. realizing they have to. And they're at that point now where they're trailing by 10 with 4:01 left in the fourth period. You've got to try to force some turnovers of your own.
Andrew Del Piano, Vince Allo with you on Tewksbury TV. 4:01 left in quarter number 4. Lowell 45, Tewksbury 35. And the Redmen got to find a way to just chip away in the final 4 minutes as both teams in the huddle, going to the board right now about what to do for these final 4 minutes. Take a look at the road ahead for each of these teams. Lowell, their next game will be in a week. They'll be at Methuen, and for the Redmen, starting a 3-game road trip starting on Friday night when they go to Haverhill to take on the Hillies. But again, as we talked about earlier, tomorrow we'll have coverage of Frozen Fenway for our Redmen boys hockey team, taking on the defending state champions of New Jersey and the Northern Highlands Highlanders. That will be at 2:30 from Fenway Park. You can watch it right here on Tewksbury TV with myself and Bill Allen. Back to the action here at the Romano. Again, 4:01 to play. Lowell up by 10. As you talked about, Vince, that full court press. What can the Redmen do with it? Sullivan getting his hand in the passing lane. In and out of the hands of De Jesus as I think the Redmen bench was calling for a backcourt violation there, as Kamayu got a piece of it right before it went over the half-court mark.
Nonetheless, great defensive intensity right there for the Redmen. Did exactly what they needed to do, caused the turnover.
.330 left in the fourth. Still a double-digit Lowell lead. Cuvier will take the step back. Hits the top of the backboard, and it's out of bounds. Redmen keeping the pressure up on the inbound. But if you're Lowell right now, you just want to eat as much clock as possible in every possession from here on out. Kermel shows shifty through the lane. Wow, what a night he's had.
He had it on a string on that possession right there. He's got 6 in the quarter.
Lead is 12 for the Red Raiders, under 3 minutes left. Cini trying to work his way through. Kermel trying to put the dagger in the heart. Foul is on the floor. And as you mentioned, Vince, he is just so shifty with the basketball.
Got a great handle on the perimeter. He's very quick with the dribble.
.15 foul for the Redmen. Still 2 more to give for Lowell's in the bonus. Kermel asking for the isolation, now gets it. That floater, it's been deadly.
Yep. He's got 8 of the 10 in the quarter for Lowell.
He asked for the isolation and he got it. Went one-on-one with Cini. 14-point Lowell lead. Cuvier, the spin move, first time tonight he gets it over Rivera. And the timeout taken by Boudreau.
12 in the ball game now for Cuvier.
And the Redmen are being called for a technical foul. I think this one's going to go against Cuvier. I think it might have been a last word he said after that floater over Rivera. But I believe Cuvier said something that the official did not like. And that's a part of the frustration being brought out tonight by the Redmen.
And Coach Boudreau still giving an earful to one of the officials down there. Guarantee he's not saying, make me laugh, I'll give you $20. I think that is only on TikTok, but although Boudreau shared a sheepish grin as he went back to the huddle.
And he did use the timeout with 2:17 remaining in quarter number 4. Been all Lowell in the second half as that defense has just been flat out stifling.
$10 in the second half. They've been, the Redmen have had thus far just 10 after having 11 in the first period, 16 in the second.
And even when we talked coming out of the halftime break about we were surprised that this team was up by 1, and definitely surprised, not surprised now that they're down by 12. Lowell will be at the line shooting a technical. Czar Powell Paracio will do the honors. Knocks down 1, still has 1 to go. And does his job well.
Only a sophomore. The 3 C's: calm, cool, collected at the line.
And you bring up the term sophomore, you talk about how young this Lowell ball club is, and even beforehand when we talked, Vince, 4-13 last year for this team after an incredible season of 22-1 with a handful of graduates now playing at the collegiate level. The message for Bob Michalczek has all been about rebuild. Offensive board for Lowell with 2 minutes left, leading by 14. The long floater hits the side of the rim. Another offensive board for Lowell.
By who? There's that guy again.
Extra possessions for Lowell. Palaparacio trying to play some mind games with Carlton, now gets him a foul. Talk about a Lowell team that is just so young, but that defense able to show that youth. It's not an older team that expects too much experience out of these guys. As we've talked about beforehand, just 2 seniors on this year's squad, just a majority of sophomores and juniors, and you throw in your freshmen. Now you're taking a look at things and seeing that Lowell last season, that 4-13 record was just a fluke. And it's not a program that rebuilds very often. It's a team that just reloads. Roman Lorick on a backdoor cut. Timeout taken by Steve Boudreau in the Tewksbury Redmen with 1:25 to play. And the Redmen down 14.
Outstanding backdoor cut by Roman Lorick, taking the feed and laying it in between 2 or 3 defenders there. So they're stuck at 39, and turnovers and an inability to execute offensively, and that was due to the intense defense here in the second half by Lowell, and that's the difference here tonight.
And when you're the Redmen coming to this game, you take a long look in the mirror before you start that 3-game road trip, starting against another tough MVC opponent. You go to Haverhill on Friday, and then as you get deeper and deeper into the schedule, you don't want to have lures like this and bad games like this, because when you get into the stretch of things, you take on those tougher teams as in the MVC 1, and then you get even more important games in the MVC 2. You can't have games like this if you expect to make the state tournament.
Right.
And we expected a lot of expectations going into this game tonight for the Redmen, but all for naught.
Gutty performance in the championship game last week in the Romano Holiday Classic, and just unable to take that momentum into this ball game here tonight.
You can tell that blown 14-point lead was a real heartbreaker for this ball club. Both teams out of the timeout, 1:25. A football pass from Gahan all the way up the floor to Kermel. And a hard foul by A.J. Sini.
Kermel with 8 in the fourth quarter alone. Really asserted himself at the offensive end here in this fourth period.
Senior captain knocks down the first for the Red Raiders. As for Lowell, able to keep the momentum going from their holiday tournament. Back in the Mill City, went 2-1 in the IAABO 95. Looking to go to 5-2 in the final minute 23. They're trying to put a bow on this one. Lork with the fake. Redmond have had a tough time getting in the middle tonight. It's for reasons like that. Palaparacio will just turn the corner and slow things down with exactly 1 minute to play. Lowell up by 16. And a take foul by Johnny Sullivan. And Vint, just like the energy in this gym, a lot of frustration in those seats tonight.
This Lowell ball club is 8 of 9 at the free throw line here in this fourth period alone. Make it 9 of 10.
And when given the opportunity, they've really snatched this game, Vince. They're not so much of that flashy ball club you expect, but they're a gritty one.
Effective always beats flashy.
Interception made by Palaparacio. Trying to run the break, lost the handle on it. Turns it over into the hands of Lork. Carlton in transition. The rebound for Rivera. He got that extra space as he pushed off of Sullivan. 31 seconds remain, 57-39, the Lowell lead. Sullivan heads to the line for a 1-and-1. But fans, a reminder that tomorrow, Frozen Fenway for our Redmond boys hockey team. We'll see a pair of state champions tomorrow between the Redmond and Northern Highlands Highlanders. The Class B champions in New Jersey. Tomorrow at 2:30 from Fenway Park, we'll have coverage of that game right here on Tewksbury TV. Timeout taken by Steve Boudreau with 31 seconds in a 16-point Lowell game, in a Lowell lead, I should say.
Be curious as to what was said at halftime in the Lowell locker room.
But credit to them. The defense has been spectacular tonight as you got the number of how many points the Redmen have scored, and to be able to hold this team to as many field goals as they did. It's a Redmond team that basically shot lights out against Burlington. They needed to stay in that game, and for the Tide to turn that quickly in a game like this, it's definitely disappointing for the Redmen, but it's got to be a game you put in the rearview mirror just like that.
Yep, got to regroup. Have a couple of good days of practice and get ready to go up 495 to Haverhill on Friday night.
I know it's one Steve Boudreau definitely wants back in his second season coaching the Redmen. I'm going to take a look at the game film after this one and hit the reset button. But the shot clock is dead, 31 seconds to play. Lowell basketball. Throw it over the top on the inbound to Kamazu. .20 seconds left, shot clock is dead. Lowell's just looking to move the basketball around. Lowell with no intention to shoot. As the clock winds down, 2, 1, and the buzzer sounds. What a second half by the Lowell Red Raiders as they storm to the Romano tonight and take a 51-41 victory over the Tewksbury Redmen. Vince, final thoughts from tonight?
Well, the final thought is it's a second half to forget if you're Tewksbury. Like we said, hit the practice facility tomorrow, and on Thursday, drive up 495 on Friday and try to get the W against Haverhill.
Definitely a disappointing performance from the Redmen tonight. That moves their record to 1-5 this season. As for Lowell, they go to 5-2. As their next game will be next week as they continue their road trip. They'll be at Methuen to take on the Rangers. Fans, one more reminder. Tomorrow at 2:30, we will be live from Fenway Park. Bill Allen and myself will have the call of North Highlands versus Tewksbury. Boys ice hockey, as we'll see two state champions in America's most beloved ballpark tomorrow. But our final one more time from the Romano. Lowell 57, Tewksbury 41. Thank you for joining us tonight on Tewksbury TV. For our entire crew, Andrew Del Piana and Vince Allo saying so long and good night from the Romano.